the first concept within the Kabbalah that I would like to introduce you to, it's the concept of the divine light. The divine light in the Kabbalistic study is called Or Ein Sof. Okay, Or Ein Sof, actually, there are three words. Or means light, Ein Sof means Ein. Sof means infinite. Unlimitless would be another way to understand it, but the actual semantic translation would be infinite. The word ein means not, the part of the word infinite in, not, and the word soft means finity, meaning infinite, without any finity, without any ending. And this is considered, we will use the term divine light in order to fully and appropriately explain. I will use, as I said, I will use the term divine light to fully and properly explain this term. But of course, the semantic translation, the exact translation of Or Ein Sof means infinite light, which of course, the reason why I decided to use the term divine light refers to the understanding. And this is the way Kabbalah explains the origin of the world, the creation of the world. Originally, and this is why I started the video this way, with the showing of the very white paper. The idea that mostly artists, but I think everybody nowadays are connected to this phrase, the idea of a blank canvas. The world was the blank canvas. The world was considered of nothing. There was nothing in there that consisted of nothingness. And this is an interesting philosophical term to be, there could be an interesting philosophical discussion here. So according to Kabbalah, like I mentioned, before the creation of the world even took place, the world was filled with infinite divine light. The reason I put white is that many commentaries explain that it was white light. And I will explain this later on as I will be discussing Sefirot, how the color white corresponds to this term, right? Because white represents the kind of the ability to contain within itself the spectrum of all the other colors. And that's interesting to note that the term Ein Sof, like I mentioned before, semantically means not finite, or as we can understand it, also boundless, endless. Okay, and it's interesting to know that it means it's not limited by anything. It cannot be grasped, and in a metaphorical sense, it can be understood that it cannot be grasped by any thought. It cannot even be fully described. We do not have, in a human kind of language, no matter what language you use, in human terms, it's very hard for us to fully describe what this divine light represented. What we can describe is the reflection that this divine light will bring, which we will be discussing further, that the reflection of what we can see is the white, you can call it pearlescent, white, endless, humongous amount of light. The light that brings both light and energy. So that's where the word or comes from. Or comes from the word light. Okay. Originally, commentators explained that the world existed of Ein Sof, something unlimited, something that cannot be described in human terms. And that's why we use the word or Ein Sof, the light, the reflection, because we cannot grasp the infiniteness that godliness represents. It's beyond the universe, it's beyond our grasp, our understanding, no matter how much or how high philosophically you can go, how transcendental you can be, how much of a enlightenment you can reach while meditating, it is beyond our grasping. But we can get, the closest we can get to understanding is comprehend the light that is reflected from this infiniteness. one of the best examples that people give to explain what Or Ein Sof, the divine light, the infinite light, means is the allegory of the sun. We know that sun has an infinite temperature, which feels everything. The sun gives us light, the sun gives us light, warmth. Without it, we cannot exist. Moreover, it's impossible, but if we go further, it's actually impossible on the other end as well. We cannot exist inside the sun itself because it will instantly burn and turn into the sun itself, right? There's the unendless, infinite, again, using the term infinite, philosophical conversation and discussion between the scientists about whether there is life on different planets, right? We know there is life on planet Earth, but as scientists have discovered, there is no planet because, for this specific reason, some planets are either further away from the sun than necessary, and there is no light, there is no life, light, and temperature that would sustain life. But also on the other end, some planets are too close to the sun, and the sun burns everything insanely, and there is no life on it for this specific reason. Earth is considered to be situated just, and I'm going to use the word perfect into parentheses, perfectly situated right in the right amount to the sun, right, where we are close enough to get the warmth and the light, yet far enough to not get burned by the sun. It's not excessive, right? Although some of us may say in certain areas of the earth it could be, and it's true, it's closer to the sun, but that's what it is, people still inhabit it, right? And that's an interesting allegory itself, so that we cannot exist inside the sun, we cannot exist too far from the sun. But interesting to note, if we talk about philosophically, metaphorically, the sun occupies absolutely everything. But for existence of anything else, it is necessary to make space, which is where Earth comes in, where the sun is not too close and not too far. And that's where existence does stay. It is interesting to note that another understanding of the word Ein Sof, infinite, infinity, is the word absolute. Another closest semantically appropriate word to understand the word Ein Sof is absolute, because absolute has that also philosophical understanding that there is nothing like absolute. And that is a word that's used, by the way, in Jungian understanding, the Jungian psychology, right? If you ever watch the Pyramid of Consciousness, that was developed by Pavel Piskaryov, the creator of the NeuroGraphic method. He actually takes that term from the Jungian understanding of how the consciousness is represented, how we understand consciousness, again, within the human terms. Absolute is the deepest possible way human can go within their consciousness, and that would be already connecting to the soul. Thank you for listening. Please join me in the next session where we will start talking about the concept called Tzimtzum. Tzimtzum means actually connect to the actual creation of the world. To register for the NeuroSefirot course that we will be studying, where we will be studying all the details about that. So the Sefirot can bring an amazing difference, bring so much interest to our life. Please register at my website, NeuroGraphicaUSA.com.